The bewitching mysticism of the treasures beckons and does not let go and gives no rest. The desire to find untold wealth has caused terrible tragedies, murders, and disappointments. But the most impenetrable place is the money mine located on Oak Island. For 2 centuries she has been playing with treasure hunters without ever giving up the desired treasure. The mystery of Oak Island. Oak Islands is located off the east coast of Nova Scotia, Canada, in Mahone Bay. An island is just an island, just like all the other 350 islands located in this bay. However, there is a difference. Or rather it was. Unlike the other islands, Mahone Bay is on the oak, which in former times cannot be said now. Red oaks grew in abundance. They gave the name to the island. Oak, in English oak. But oak is famous not only for its oaks. For 2 centuries now it has been exciting the minds of treasure hunters, and more recently historians, with the huge treasures hidden in its depths. And not so much with treasures, but with the sophisticated ingenuity with which they were hidden. Pirate games. It all started with the fact that in October, back in 1795, 3 teenagers from neighboring Chaucer, Daniel McGinnis, John Smith, and Anthony Vaughan, portraying desperate pirate cutthroats, landed on the uninhabited oak, with the intention of turning it into their pirate base. While exploring the island, the guys came across a grove in the middle of a clearing, a huge old oak tree. The trunk was distorted in one place by blows from an axe. The thickest branch had been cut off, and from the branch hung decayed ship's gear, which apparently served as a hoist. Directly below them, a round depression could be seen in the ground, clearly indicating that in this place there was a long-filled hole. Since there were hoists, and under them there was a hole, it means that some kind of load was lowered into this hole, the guys realized. And if this cargo was buried, it means it was hidden. What can you hide other than pirate treasure? Having come to such a simple conclusion, the young pirates immediately turned into treasure hunters. He went to the village, took shovels and returned to the island again. Naturally, they didn't say a word to the adults about their find. The children were able to go down a little, but the shovels rested on some kind of wooden surface. The adults refused to help. The island had a very bad reputation. Then Daniel and his friends searched the entire coast. But their finds were limited to 1 coin and a mooring stone to which boats were never attached. Return to Oak Island. The main instigator of pirate games did not give up his dream of digging up treasure. He returned to the island 10 years later, taking assistance with him. Digging a well, they successively came across a layer of clay, charcoal, and coconut sponge. The man-made nature of the pit was confirmed by oak partitions found at regular intervals. Ultimately, treasure hunters discovered a stone with an encrypted inscription. A little later, 2 versions appeared about what was written on the slab. According to the first, it was information about the value of the treasure, £2 million sterling. In the 70s of the 20th century, a second assumption was made. The code was a hint for those suffering from wealth and recommended pouring maize or seed grains into the water. But these interpretations appeared many years after McGinnis's work. And the treasure hunters themselves continued to dig. It became more and more difficult to work. Water began to appear in the hole. But it seemed that the cherished goal was already close. The friends found some kind of wooden object. However, night came and further searches were postponed until the morning. At dawn, the treasure hunters were terribly disappointed. The shaft was filled with 60 pounds of liquid. It was not possible to pump it out. Expeditions on Oak Island. What happened to the person who first discovered the well is unknown. But a pilgrimage to the mine began. In the mid-19th century, a full-fledged expedition was equipped to the island. They brought a drill with them that went down 98 pounds. And I came across an already familiar obstacle. The participants decided that inclined vertical holes should be drilled for suctioning water. There were so many of them that the treasure sank and disappeared into the abyss of mud and silt. Perhaps the idea with cereal was not so naive. This idea is confirmed by the semi-destroyed dam. Supposedly it protects the island from being flooded by ocean water. In 1896, new drillers arrived on Oak Island. They managed to reach the metal barrier. They found a way to break through it using a particularly strong drill. Below was nothing like concrete. Oak partition and soft metal. They hoped it was gold, but there was no confirmation. Wood fibers, pieces of iron, and even a piece of parchment stuck to the instrument. But not crumbs of precious contents. However, treasure hunters confidently reported that a chest lay at a depth of 160 feet. And crowds flocked to the island, attracted by rumors of many sunken barrels of treasure. In the 60s of the last century, underground passages and channels were discovered to drain water connecting the mine and the dam. But the drillers, 100 years earlier, damaged the carefully constructed message system. Since then, it has been flooded with water and even the latest modern technology is powerless. The year 1945 was marked by the death of 4 people. At the same time, Daniel Blankenship showed up on Oak. This man approached his search thoughtfully and thoroughly. He did not rush to destroy the already broken well, but slowly walked around the entire island. He also found the remains of the old pier, which had not been noticed by previous searchers. Perhaps there were many clues on the island before, but the rough handling of the land and the mass of equipment most likely destroyed them all. It was Daniel Blankenship, after analyzing all archival materials related to pirates, who dismissed the version of the secret treasure of the captain of the filibuster ship. This was later confirmed by other researchers. The desire for complex construction was not typical of the corsair. But they did not waste their lives and were famous for their extravagance. Everything they looted remained in the bottomless pockets of innkeepers and public girls. The wise treasure hunter put forward 3 versions, according to which the Inca treasure, looted by the fancier Pizarro, is hidden in the money pit. He managed to embezzle millions of pounds worth of gold, but still this money disappeared without a trace. Perhaps they are still reliably hidden in the depths of the Oak Island. Monarch's money in Great Britain. After the introduction of Protestantism in England, monasteries were mercilessly ruined and destroyed. After the dissolution of the Abbey of St. Andrew, the untold wealth stored in the cellars also disappeared. This version is also supported by the fact that the system of underground communications on the island and the secret passages of the monastery were built according to the same principle. Holy Grail. The existence of the artifact is controversial. According to one version, he was hidden by the Masons on a small island near New Scotland. Daniel Blankenship managed to be lowered into the photographic equipment drilled next to the well, and then for the first time the veil of secrecy was slightly lifted. He could see a huge box, and a human hand was floating nearby, and the outline of a skull was visible. After this, the researcher made 3 attempts to go down into the money pit, but all of them did not end in fiasco. Black silt hid everything around at the slightest movement. The secret remains a secret. Daniel Blankenship makes a vague statement about what he suspects of the Oak Island treasure. But he won't voice them until all this is finally figured out. However, it hints that the truth seems much more fantastic than all versions. Since 2013, excavations have been going on the island by Ricky and Martin Logan. But so far their only achievement is the discovery of a Spanish gold coin. Who and why? In fact, in an effort to become millionaires, seized by the fever of enrichment, few of the diggers thought about who the people were and, most importantly, why they worked titanically in order to reliably hide the mysterious treasure. For the first time, Halifax asked these questions. According to calculations and conclusions made based on the results of excavations, the construction was managed by those who knew mining and hydraulic engineering. In addition, they had strong-willed and leadership qualities, because the work would require thousands of people who would have to work in 3 shifts for at least 6 months. These facts lead to speculation. The value of the hidden treasure is so great that it was necessary to attract the forces of the ocean to hide it, and the hardest work was justified. Now there are many versions known about the origin of the supposed treasure on Oak Island. The most common of them is pirated. In this regard, the names of such famous pirates as Blackbeard, Henry Morgan, and Captain Whale are mentioned. However, there is no direct documentary evidence confirming this version. The pirated version is also dubious because it is unlikely that among the pirates there were mining engineers, hydraulic engineering specialists and a whole army of workers. According to modern experts, in order to generate such a hydraulic complex, having the technological level of the 18th century, it would take a lot of hard work for at least a person to become a person within a year. Why would a pirate need such difficulties? Oak and his treasure is a long chain of questions that still has no answers. And the main one among these questions, which has haunted scientists and treasure hunters for 2 centuries, is who, after all, so cleverly and reliably hid the treasures in the bowels of the island. If we could get an answer to this question, answering all the others would be quite simple. In the meantime, Oak's mystery is still waiting to be solved. Over 220 years, 6 people died on the island trying to get to its underground secrets. Modern researchers believe that until it becomes known who and why turned a small island into a fortress to hide a single chest, it will not be possible to find it.